The leak in Yao's garage was next to the water heater, and Mrs. Yao managed to section it off and put a giant bucket there. Still, the boxes that Jason and I wanted to look through were all soaking wet on the bottom. Maybe Mr. Yao was right that home ownership wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. Jason set the boxes down on a fluffy towel and we started digging. Dad says there's no recipes or anything in there, and he wants all this stuff gone by the end of the week, Jason said. But I already found a couple. A couple more diary entries? I asked, perking up. Jason shook his head. No, recipes from my grandparents. I have them in my room. Be right back. I found old ledgers and receipts and even unused napkins. Leave it to Mr. Yao to save everything. I picked up the napkins delicately, trying to save them from the musty wet box. They read, Yao's Kitchen. I held one up to my nose, trying to see if I could smell highlighter chicken on it, but it had been too many years. Then my eye caught the shiny gleam of metal, a spiral notebook. I dug it out on the cover where the words do not read. Jackpot, I shouted. I looked around for Jason, but he was still up in his room. I couldn't wait. I turned to the first page and started reading. Dear Diary, Dad's back is a little better, so he's at the walk again. Thank God, because my highlighter chicken was turning into eraser chicken. Today, a really embarrassing thing happened. One of my classmates, Jimmy Vanderbean, came in with his family. Jimmy Vanderbean, if you remember, is the guy who called me brass gas in band. For the record, I farted once while playing trumpet. But the brass gas name stuck, and he walks around saying I should just quit. Who ever heard of a good Chinese trumpet player anyway? So Jimmy came in on Sunday with his family. I hid underneath the table, but my mom yelled, Michael, get them some tea. She's always on my case about bringing out the tea before the customer can say, just some ice water, please. We can charge for tea, but not for water. So there I was pouring tea for Jimmy and his twin sisters, trying hard to avoid his gaze. When Jimmy registered me, he spilled all his tea over the table. He starts dabbing up the mess with napkins, but his mom yells at him to stop. Jimmy, let them do it. That's what we pay him for. Can you believe that? That's what she said to him. So I kneeled and started wiping, because of course Jimmy had to spill all over the floor. And I'm 2 inches from his feet, smelling his horrendous socks. That's when Jimmy's mom shrieks, Hey, aren't you in Jimmy's class? At first I pretended I don't speak English, but then she said, Yeah, you're the boy in his marching band with the crooked plum. For the record, yes, I have a crooked plum. That's because Dad refuses to get the box for it. It costs 5 whole extra dollars. Anyways, my cheeks grew hotter than Dad's woke, and I stayed wiping the floor underneath Jimmy's table long after the tea dried up. In the end, they didn't even leave a tip. And get this, at school on Monday, he lied and told to everyone he went to Denny's after church for lunch, not to a restaurant. Which I suppose is a good thing, but still, it hurt because the food we made is so good. Hopefully, one day I'll look back when I'm traveling through Europe as a world renowned trumpet player, and this will all seem funny. Until then, it sure sucks lychees. Michael Yao. I jumped when Jason came back in and announced, Here are the recipes. Jason, come look at this, I cried. You don't tell me your dad plays the trumpet. He does? Jason asked, running over. I showed him the diary entry. That's so weird. He never played for us before. Jason walked around the garage, moving old rugs and looking under moldy hats. I don't see one anywhere. Maybe he quit, I asked, feeling a pang of sadness. I wished young Michael had gone on his European tour, but I was pretty sure that never happened. Jason flipped frantically to a new page in the notebook, but there were no more entries. He sat down on the cold garage floor and looked over his father's words once again. Man, the way he describes the shame, not wanting to have your classmates to find out. That's how I felt too. What do you mean you felt it too? I asked, surprised. You guys owned the Cala Vista, so it was still a motel. It's just a motel. If my parents owned 30 plus rooms and a pool, two vending machines, and don't even get me started on all the TVs, I would have been proud as the sun. I was as proud as the sun. It's not exactly something you heard other kids talking about, Jason confessed, until you came along. He looked up at me and smiled. You made it cool to work in the motel, he said, shyly. I smiled back and bumped my shoulder lightly against his. It is cool, and so is working in a restaurant. Jason nodded wholeheartedly. I jumped up and opened a couple more boxes. Where did you say your grandparents' restaurant was? In San Gabriel Valley somewhere. He set the journal down and helped me. We dug through the boxes until Jason found a card for Yao's Kitchen with an address. It was on Elm Street in Pasadena. I thought I called every single Chinese restaurant in Pasadena, but I don't remember calling on any Elm Street. You think it's still there? We should go check it out, Jason said excitedly. We looked around for a map and finally found a dusty old Thomas guide right next to Mr. Yao's old bowling ball. We just opened it when Mr. Yao himself walked in. What are you guys doing? He asked. You shouldn't be playing around here. You're gonna make the leak worse. We are not even touching the leak, Jason argued, just sorting through the boxes. I thought I said I wanted all that stuff gone. We have to go through it first, Jason snapped. Mr. Yao started grabbing the boxes away from us. I quickly tucked his journal behind my jacket. You're not going through anything. You should be at the restaurant, Mr. Yao barked. You make me sink $800 into the restaurants, and now all the flowers are rotting. And the soccer players, where are they? Jason flushed. I don't know, Dad. Maybe they're not coming, Mr. Yao pointed at Jason. And I'll tell you why. You should have never said to them we make Chinese food. This is all your fault. The difference between the nice sensitive boy in the diaries and the angry screaming man in front of us was jarring. No, it's not, I said. Jason cowered next to me the same way I did in PE class. I threw his own line from his diary back at Mr. Yao. When you say it like that, it hurts because the food we make is so good. Mr. Yao sadly didn't remember his childhood words. It's good to us, he said, but to white people, it's just fast food, not a real restaurant. Jason clenched his jaw, clearly stung, but he remained silent, his eyes glued to the floor. Then why'd you invest in it? I asked. Yeah, Jason looked up. Why did you invest in my restaurant? I wanted to set you up, help you succeed, but you have to listen to me. That's why? Jason cut him off. His eyes filled with hurt. You wanted to buy my success? Mr. Yao hesitated. I just don't want you to see you suffer. You don't have to, because I quit, Jason said. Then he grabbed his jacket and ran out of the garage.